Welcome to Morning Java, brought to you by GetGo Cafe and Market, where you can get the cheesesteak.
Philly cheesesteak, and it's really good, but especially if you get the pepper jack version, which I had over the weekend.
That's perfect for a cold winter day.
Outstanding. Yeah, it'll heat up any setting. The Steelers setting couldn't be any hotter than it is because of a certain number 84.
Yeah, Antonio Brown, we still don't know the exact implications or what's happened for sure, but there's a lot of stuff swirling around out there. You and I have both heard inklings of something that had happened last week at practice, but it just wasn't enough to go on right away.
No, and here you have a situation where it's everybody's gone off of different information, and even when Mike Tomlin does face the media on Wednesday, it's going to be no one's going to believe what he says either.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, and that goes back to, I know people were questioning the designation on the injury report. I will note, and had I looked at it more closely during the week last week, coach's decision slash knee. They left the coach's decision on there all week long, and I thought it was strange when it happened Friday when I was doing the injury report for my pregame preview. But I thought, well, maybe they just left it on there just because that's what it was listed at. And now it makes sense.
Yeah, a lot of things make sense, and at the same time they don't make sense. Because at the end of the day, and this is what you've been writing definitively over the past 48 hours, at the end of the day, he was still held out of a game. That's not guessing. He was held out of a game that the Steelers needed to win to qualify for the playoffs.
Yeah. And
that's mind-boggling.
It's a situation where, Mike Tomlin doesn't like to announce discipline unless he has to.
Well,
and the reason, they're trying to avoid the distractions with the players late in the week last week, so I understand that, but they had to know that this was going to get out.
Yeah, and it did. So what now?
Well, that's going to be the big question, and it's, about
can't cut him.
It's about a $21 million question.
Yeah, can't cut him.
That's the big and small of it. It's $22 million if he plays for the Steelers next year. That's what he counts against the salary cap. If they release or trade him, it's $21 million unless they do it after June 1st. Well, the problem with doing it after June 1st,
draft.
You're not going to get any draft picks this year. Nothing that's going to help you this year.
Yeah.
And Ben Roethlisberger is going to be 37 next year. Future draft picks, pushing things down the road, don't help you at all.
Yeah, then there's the most palatable option, if you will, is trade, and it's the most realistic one. That doesn't mean it's great, though.
No, it doesn't, because you're not going to get equal value for the best receiver in football. You're just not. It's like the Khalil Mack trade. Yeah, you got the Oakland Raiders get 2 first-round draft picks, but Khalil Mack is a game-changing player. There's no guarantee.
Instantly.
There's no guarantee you're going to get anything of equal value out of that.
You're certainly not going to get a player of similar caliber. But I can see, playing devil's advocate here with you, that someone could put together a quote-unquote package. Now, again, these things never happen in football, so this is just pure fantasy land on my part, You don't see package deals. You don't see 2-for-1 type deals. It just doesn't happen.
They're really tough to do because the reason being, if you have a good football player, you don't want to give him up for another good football player. And a lot of guys are scheme-specific. Where, that defensive end would look really good on your team, but you don't play the same scheme.
Right.
So it's really difficult to do it in that respect. And draft picks are so valuable because they make little money.
And they come in, they're young, they're fresh, they're hungry, they're energetic, and you need some of that always on your roster, and it's going to be
a mess. I expect them to try to get this thing back together. I expect them to let cooler heads prevail.
Well,
sit on it for a couple of weeks and see where we're at there.
Let's do that next. All right, let's patch it up. You're Ben, I'm AB. Go for it.
Well, AB.
You know what? I was going to throw a football at you. Do we have a football here? Really, and I know they can patch it up. They've done it probably
countless times.
Probably over things far worse than this.
And this is the situation. When you have a locker room and you have star players, there are going to be situations where one guy doesn't like the other guy, or they have a disagreement about things. These guys have been together for 8 years. They certainly haven't always seen eye to eye on every single thing. Ben Roethlisberger and Hines Ward didn't see eye to eye on anything other than the fact that they both wanted to win. I believe Antonio Brown wants to win. I believe Antonio Brown also wants his stats. Those two things can be
And they have been,
equal, yeah.
they have been things that have
Yeah.
worked in concert.
right. But he has to realize, and I think, the emergence of Juju Smith-Schuster, Ben's continued praising of Juju Smith-Schuster, I think has rubbed Antonio Brown a little bit
How
wrong.
about Ben throwing to Juju Smith-Schuster when the games have been on the line? I mean, now in fairness, AB rose way
He had the
above
best game of any
New
Steeler
Orleans.
this season in New Orleans.
Yeah, and you were saying that sitting next to me up there in the Superdome throughout the game, like that.
It may have been the best game of his career.
Yeah, arguably. I mean, he was that fantastic.
Yeah, he
that
took
day.
over that football game.
And that's what he's capable of doing. So they're gonna find a way, probably, to try to hammer this out. I guess the part where I get thrown here is that all of it is going to happen again in some form.
Here's the thing with Antonio Brown.
And the head coach. We can't leave the head coach out of this either.
Anto-
All of this is going to happen again in part
Yeah.
because he will allow it to happen.
Well, I don't know that he allows. I mean, and this is what I went into the locker room on Monday trying to talk to guys about. The different sets of rules that you have for different players. Now, Ben has a different set of rules.
Yes, he does.
And Sidney Crosby has a different set of
Yeah.
rules. And that's
Marquise
what,
Pouncey, people don't realize, operates with a
Right.
different set of rules. And that's not said as if he's spoiled or something. He's
You build that
gained a
cachet
certain-
up.
He's gained, right.
Yeah.
Marquise, just to cite an example that most people aren't even aware of, will usually get Wednesday practices
Right.
off. And it will say coach's decision, and they will mean it. They're cutting him a break.
Certain days during training camp, when they have a big decision to make, he may be involved in it.
Yeah.
Bill Cowher did that with Rod Woodson and others back in the day. That's how you run a locker
Right.
room
And to your,
in that
yeah, and to
situation.
your point, just so that people understand, this isn't team specific. Like you said, Sidney Crosby, Evgeny Malkin, Chris Letang, Andrew McCutcheon when he was with the Pirates. Not spoiled, not treated
earned
like
it.
baby. They earned it.
Yeah.
They earned it.
And that's part of the process. I mean, if you're an employer and you have an employee who's been with you for 20 years and has been a star employee, you treat that employee differently than you treat somebody who just comes onto the job. But there
when
are
it-
rules.
When it crosses the line, and this most absolutely did, and this has been the point I've been trying to make in my writing since then, is that the head coach has to find a way to attempt something different. It can't just be the same old meeting
Well-
at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse and hashing it out the way he did with AB before the contract, because that didn't work.
Yeah. Well, we'll see if sitting him down for a game did
Yeah, that game.
that game.